Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Do not adjust your camera. We're back. And yes, I've got a little gray under my chin or on my chin. This is the new me, the old me. And man, does it feel good to be back. These 2 weeks off, a lot happened. And I was like, man, these summer breaks just aren't what they used to be. This used to be the slow time of the year. And you could, hey, right before training camp, let's head out and have a little fun and everybody recharge their batteries. And lo and behold, all kinds of things happen during our break. We're going to try to cover some of it today and mix it in with what happened over the sports weekend. But it is so good to be back. I hope you guys are looking forward to today's show because it will be amazing. Now, you know, I say that all the time, and sometimes you guys take it for granted. I really mean it. Today's show will be amazing. It's going to, I wouldn't say a pivot in the show, but an establishment of a brand and a movement and a point of view that we're going to really focus in on moving forward. That when you step back for a couple of weeks and you disconnect slightly and you just get a broader perspective of what's going on in the sports world and in the real world, it not only re-energizes you, it gives you new insight, new perspective. About a year ago, I watched a sermon from a minister that talked about how important it was for him to take 2, 3, 4 weeks off during this summer or during a break so that he could recharge and that it would help his ministry and help his point of view. And that's what's happened to me in this show. And so I can't wait to unpack for you today what I have planned for us, not just me, but for all of us. For all, we're going to give fans a voice because that's my big epiphany. And I've always known it, but that was the epiphany that I came to during our break. And so we'll start the show there. I'm going to unpack some things that happened while we were away that I think are very positive and kind of resets our mission and what we're trying to accomplish here at Fearless. Because we've had some victories, and we had a big one while we were away. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, then transition into where we're headed. Of course, at the back end of the show, we'll bring Steve Kim on. He'll react to some of my overall perspective here about fans and whatnot. But we'll also talk about what's going on in the sports world as it relates to Shannon Sharpe, maybe headed back to ESPN. We'll be talking some Steelers. Are they Super Bowl or bust? We'll be talking about Scottie Scheffler won the British Open yesterday and has now 4 major titles in the same number of days that it took Tiger Woods to win 4 major titles in golf. That's significant. Is Scottie Scheffler really as dominant as Tiger Woods? We'll talk about that. And then President Donald Trump is talking about the Washington Commanders and the Cleveland Guardians, I believe is their name, reestablishing their old names, the Redskins and the Indians. Is this all a distraction? Is this a big deal? Or is Trump just, after the whole Epstein deal and all that, is he just pandering, trying to, hey, look, I know you're mad at me about this, but look, I'm giving you nicknames back for your sports teams. You know why? This is interesting. I should say before the end, but Kevin Donahue, that regularly appears on this show, he's not a Trump fan. And he's been upset with Trump ever since Operation Warp Speed. And he sent me a text all excited about Donald Trump and the Washington Commanders name. He wants him to return to the Redskins. And I'm like, oh, Trump got Kevin Donahue. He might get everybody. But anyway, we're just moments away from me going into a fire starter that will be amazing. But before we do that, I want to thank our friends, our longtime friends and sponsors, Preborn. This July, we celebrate the birth of our nation and remembering the heroes who fought for our freedoms. But did you know some Americans today still do not have the freedom of life and liberty? Tragically, every day, thousands of unborn babies' lives are taken. But because of Preborn, we can rescue them. Preborn's network of clinics provide free ultrasounds to women with unplanned pregnancies. And not only do they save lives, but they love and care for these hurting women. If we uphold the truths of the Constitution and above all the truth of God, we must acknowledge that babies in their mother's wombs are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights that cannot and should not be taken, and that includes life, liberty, and the pursuit of holiness. Will you stand with Preborn? One ultrasound is just $28, or 5 ultrasounds are $140. To donate, just dial pound 250, say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. Thank you, Preborn. You guys know that's part of our mission. All right, let's get into today's topic and mission for this show and what part of what we're trying to accomplish and what we're going to accomplish in the sports world. And so before I do that, I want to remind you all, or tell you all, I wouldn't say tell you all, we're here because we're celebrating a huge victory. And this happened midweek, I believe, July 16th, just 5 days ago. And it started with, or it was the culmination, the surrender of woke sports culture. It was on July 16th, just 5 days ago, when Shane Gillis, the comedian, hosted the ESPY Awards. And on that same day, Dave Portnoy, it was announced, he and Barstool were headed over to Fox Sports to replace all the people that got fired at Fox Sports while we were on break. You know, Joy Taylor and Speak for Yourself, Emmanuel Acho and The Facility, The Breakfast Ball Show, those guys all got whacked. And trust me, people wanted me to comment instantly, even though we were on break, about it. I couldn't do it because I know too many of the people involved in that firing and that layoff. And I'm not talking about the front-facing people, the hosts of those shows. I'm talking about the behind-the-scenes people on those shows. There were 70, 80 people let go at Fox Sports. It wasn't just Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho and Keyshawn Johnson and Paul Pierce. It's all these behind-the-scenes people that are very good people to let go. And so I was reluctant to comment. I'm not going to celebrate it because I know very good people were impacted and affected. But I did take note of, like, hey, this is part of the healing process of what's going on in sports media. That the woke crowd has raised the white flag of surrender. That anytime you have someone like Shane Gillis hosting the ESPY Awards, cracking the jokes that Shane Gillis cracked, wow, there's been a culture shift. And for those of us like myself that have been waiting for this culture shift to take hold for, I would say for me, a solid 10 years. I would say the culture shift started even before Colin Kaepernick, but let's just say it was 2016 when Colin Kaepernick started taking a knee. That's when, and again, it started before that, the St. Louis Rams, hands up, don't shoot, the Trayvon Martin deal, the Michael Brown deal, all of that. But for the past 10 years, for the past decade, we've been living in this woke sports world where no one could crack any jokes, where no one could say what they really think, where ESPN, was getting rid of any and everybody that wasn't super woke. That ESPN was promoting and pushing DEI people that would stay on the woke messaging everywhere. And I mention ESPN because they're the worldwide leaders, and that's why Fox Sports was following the same blueprint, basically, with Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless and all that woke garbage that they were shoving down our throats. And I look up and I go, Shane Gillis is hosting the ESPYs, and he's cracking these jokes? Are you kidding me? This is the white flag of surrender. And literally on the same day, Fox Sports, look, I have mixed feelings about Dave Portnoy, but I cannot deny what Barstool and Dave Portnoy represent. They are not politically correct. Dave Portnoy may dabble in a little political correctness, but when Fox Sports is having to bring over Dave Portnoy and Barstool to save itself, it's an indication like there's a cultural shift. Woke sports is waving the white flag of surrender. I want to play you some of these jokes that Shane Gillis cracked at the ESPYs. I'm sure some of you, many of you have heard them and saw them, but I'm not sure if you recognize the significance of perhaps the most politically incorrect comedian being able to host the ESPYs and being allowed to crack these jokes. You got to remember what the ESPYs are. Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce Jenner, got a Courage Award for changing his gender. You got Serena Williams and all these people hosting and wagging their fingers and all that just feminist woke garbage that has been spewed at us from that platform of the ESPY Awards. And now Shane Gillis is on there cracking these jokes. Let's play them back to back. It's the first four shots of just Shane Gillis cracking jokes that would have never been allowed before.
Four-time WNBA All-Star Brittany Hicks is here. Give it up for Brittany, everybody. I'm joking around. That's my friend's wife. I knew none of you knew WNBA players. That's crazy. You clap for that. The New York Knicks had a great season. Yeah, hell yeah. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Hey, girl. When Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she's going to work at a Waffle House so she can continue doing what she loves most, fist-fighting black women. It's supposed to be an Epstein joke here, but I just got deleted. Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on.
That, and there's a bunch of other jokes that he cracked. That was a surrender. I wish I had done the homework. I can't. When Robert E. Lee, where did he surrender at? Appomattox or what? Did I just screw that up? That's what that was. Excuse me? Where did he surrender? Appomattox Courthouse. My memory is that good. My memory and my history is that good. That's what that was. That was Robert E. Lee, a rebel, Shane Gillis, doing the surrender deal for the whole woke culture at Disney. I mean, when I saw that, when I saw those clips circulating on social media, I was like, we won. We popped woke culture. You get that? Popped woke culture. We won. And when I say we, I'm including myself, and I'm going to include people that, I got mixed feelings about for sure. But I literally did think about Clay Travis and Outkick. And like people that have been on the front lines the entire time when there was a price to pay for being politically incorrect and for standing your ground. You got to tip your hat to Clay Travis and Outkick. You got to tip your hat to Riley Gaines, the swimmer. You got to tip your hat to Pat McAfee. And I know he's over the edge, but he's not woke. And you got to tip your hat to Dave Portnoy, as I already have. These are what I'm calling my Purple Heart people of the woke culture, the popping of the woke culture movement. And we have to celebrate this. We can't sit around, I can't, and be cynical and act like we're not making real progress in this culture war. And so I think about Bobby Burack, who works for Outkick and stands his ground. I think about Sage Steele, that lost her job at ESPN because she wouldn't back down. I think about Michelle Tafoya, that left NBC Sports and Sunday Night Football to get into podcast lane so she could speak her mind. I think about Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, that went to a Catholic university and spoke Catholic truths to a bunch of other Catholics and took all kinds of hell. I think about Antonio Brown. Yes, I know he's wanted right now for attempted murder. Yes, I know he's apparently fled the country. But whoever's been running AB's Twitter feed, hats off to you, hats off to AB, hats off to all of these people that stood their ground and help us win this part of the culture war. And so and look, did it take 10 years? Yes, it took 10 years. But this is why you never give up. Because even if it takes 10 years, it's well worth it. And I hope that you will be inspired by the progress, the obvious progress, that Disney, a grooming institution, the headquarters for the alphabet mafia, they had to wave the white flag. Oh, okay, Shane Gillis, come on up here. Crack these lesbian jokes. Crack these LGBTQ insensitive jokes. Crack these jokes about these black queens and them beating up Caitlin Clark. Crack whatever joke you want, Shane. We have to surrender. This is what victory looks like, tastes like, is, and we have to celebrate it because it's inspiration. It's an indication that we should continue the fight and we should switch targets. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I do want, I do want to talk about just a tiny bit negative about some of the turncoats that I'm calling them. People that should have stayed in the fight with the rest of us. But they felt like they couldn't go the Pat McAfee route. They couldn't go the Clay Travis route. Because Clay Travis and Pat McAfee, they got big checks. Even though they fought against this woke culture. They got big checks. You didn't have to sell out. You didn't have to be a turncoat to get a big check. You needed a pair of balls to stand your ground, and they did it. But here's some people that didn't, and I'm going to say up front, there's a couple of guys on this list that I like and that I respect. I have to say that. But I also have to say they sold out. So here's my list of turncoats. Dan Le Batard. And, you know, Dan Le Batard used to be my best friend in the sports media. I still, know Dan's entire family, knew his brother that passed away. You know, I still have warm feelings for Dan Le Batard, but I just don't trust him because he's a turncoat. This is a guy that years ago got in trouble for writing a column that basically said that Patrick Ewing was a gorilla or a monkey or looked like one or something like that. And now he's a guy that is complaining about Shane Gillis cracking WNBA jokes. Now he's a guy surrounded by a bunch of woke little kids that want to point their finger. Oh, you can't crack those jokes. You got Dan Le Batard, turncoat, and I like Dan. Or I have warm memories of my friendship with Dan. Bill Simmons is my favorite sports columnist of all time, but he's a turncoat. But Bill Simmons used to write the funniest stuff in sports media that I didn't write. My favorite sports columnist of all time, I laugh out loud, used to write things and have a little gimmick about guess who's a WNBA player and guess who's an NBA player, and he'd put pictures up side by side, and you couldn't tell who was the WNBA player and who was the NBA player. Now, to get that Grantland money or the Ringer money or whatever, Bill Simmons, very politically correct or very quiet on this front, tends to avoid it. He's kind of like Jimmy Kimmel that was on the Man Show, and the next thing you know, Jimmy Kimmel is one of the most woke, politically correct people in all the media. I have very warm feelings towards Bill Simmons, and my memories of his politically incorrect and very, very provocative, ahead of the curve, informative columns, someone that I respect. The next person, Skip Bayless, sellout, turncoat, in my opinion. I don't know anybody else in the sports media that has kissed, and I'm just going to keep it real, guys, has kissed more black butt than Skip Bayless, has shoved his head up the rear end of any and everything black, trying to protect himself from criticism because he used to criticize LeBron James. Running around pretending like him and Lil Wayne are BFF, running around with a little gold chain and the Air Jordan shoes. The man's 70 some odd years old. Turncoat. Next guy I got a lot of respect for, former co-worker, still does some good stuff from time to time, but Cowherd basically stayed on the porch during this entire war and would pretend to be woke. You know, he's one of these guys that, I'm a fiscal conservative, but I'm a social liberal. And my best friend is Bill Romanowski, but I'm telling you, I like Cowherd. I like what he does from time to time. Because now that the wind is blowing the other direction, he's aware that the wind is blowing the other direction. We're about to see the real Colin Cowherd again from time to time. But I got to call him a turncoat. Sorry, Colin. Sarah Spain and Katie Nolan, these guys are easy for me. I don't like either one of them. Sarah Spain entered the media universe by offering up her breast and herself for Super Bowl tickets. And now is one of the biggest woke scolds in the history of sports media. She hates everything, including Shane Gillis's brilliant hosting of the ESPY Awards. And Katie Nolan is basically white Joy Taylor, who was supposed to be some sort of rebel, supposed to be, some kind of provocative, edgy talk show host. She was going to set the sports media on fire. She's always been a corporate clown and a Joy Taylor, the original Joy Taylor, laid the blueprint and the foundation for someone like Joy Taylor to even exist. Anyway, all these people turncoats. If I've left someone off credit for being, one of these Purple Heart winners, or if I've left someone off that's a turncoat, let me know in the chat, let me know via email. But I just want to start there by declaring victory. We took a major scalp in the culture war. We have returned to sanity as it relates to this wokeness in the sports media when someone like Pat McAfee is basically the face of ESPN, and the guy's not politically correct. I don't agree with everything he does. I don't, he ain't all the way there. But anytime Pat McAfee is the face of ESPN and Dave Portnoy is about to be one of the faces of Fox Sports, along with Colin Cowherd, we got to declare victory. And we got to say hats off to the people that helped fight this war. Clay Travis, Riley Gaines, myself. I put myself, sorry for this narcissism and arrogance, but I put myself at the top of the list. I was I was taking scalps and taking bullets all this entire time. I'm the only person. I went to war with Colin Kaepernick in 2016 as soon as he started this BS. And because if we were going to go 1 and 2, you got to put Clay Travis number 2, and some people will argue number 1. He's got that Outkick deal. He hired Bobby Burak. The reason why I give myself more credit is because there is no social movement, there is no cultural victories unless the victory starts on a spiritual basis. And I say that in all seriousness. People only make these types of sacrifices if there's some kind of spiritual force guiding them. And that's not me. Listen, I'm a recovering degenerate. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. But you just don't win these type of cultural wars without God. And I'm not an atheist. I'm not an agnostic. You know what I am. You know what Clay is if you've been paying attention. But I got to give him credit. And you can go, if you said Clay and Outkick and all that is number 1, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to bicker with you. But I'm the real general. I'm Ulysses S. Grant in this, or I'm Abe Lincoln in this, in freeing the sports media. Thank you very much. So, we've celebrated the victory. Now I want to talk about where we go next after this. Because the war is still ongoing, and there's a bigger war to be won. And the bigger war to be won is about putting some respect on the name of fans. Give me a second, and I'll unpack that. But before we do that, I want to thank one of our newest sponsors, Done with Debt. The American dream has changed. Forget the white picket fence. For most Americans, the real dream is getting out of debt. If you're feeling the pressure from rising prices, mounting credit card debt, and just trying to stay afloat, I want you to know there is a way out. Done with Debt. They have one goal: break you free from debt permanently. They're not pushing loans or bankruptcy. Instead, their tough negotiators go straight to your creditors, slashing what you owe, wiping out interest, and eliminating penalties. They don't stop until your debt is gone. And the best part, most clients see more money in their pocket in the first month. You've worked too hard to let debt steal your future. With Done with Debt, your dream of being debt-free is actually possible. Visit donewithdebt.com, talk with one of their experts. It's completely free. But some of their solutions are time sensitive, so don't wait. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Let me move to phase 2 of our triumphant return to Fearless today. And that triumphant return has to do with the WNBA and what we witnessed with the WNBA over the All-Star weekend and where we need to head from here on out. That WNBA All-Star game and All-Star weekend was an affront to sports fans. These ladies, these young women, took the court with T-shirts on Saturday night, with T-shirts on. Pay us what you owe us. I'm sure many of you saw this. The WNBA players in their pregame warm-up came out in these T-shirts, "Pay us what you owe us." And then immediately pivoted to playing the worst All-Star game in the history of professional All-Star games. They took the court in T-shirts. "Pay us what you owe us. We're underpaid. This league has lost millions of dollars, but we're underpaid. Pay us what you owe us." And then they served up a doo-doo sandwich to sports fans. Not only did they serve up a doo-doo sandwich where people were basically just walking up and down the court, no defense being played, players jacking up three and these imaginary four-pointers. And I'm like, how are they doing this? Why are they doing this? It's incredible. How can you be this tone deaf, this delusional, that you're going to take the court, "Pay us what you owe us," and then take 17, 18,000 fans inside Gainbridge Arena in Indianapolis, where your most passionate fan base of the WNBA is, the fan base that you and many of these black players have described as racist, come out in droves, support you the entire weekend. Everybody's on the record. This is the best WNBA All-Star weekend of all time. And then you serve them a doo-doo sandwich. You don't even put 10% effort out on the court. This is how little respect professional sports and professional athletes, and I'm talking about at the collegiate level and the pro level, this is how little respect they have for fans. They got this entire thing, and the sports media has this entire thing backwards, that they are owed something. This has been a charity welfare league for 30 years, has never turned a profit. And they're taking the court, "Pay us what you owe us." This is a sign of how desperate they are. This is a sign of how delusional they are. This is a sign of how dumb they are. Dumb, desperate, and delusional. Why are that way? Why are they that way? Because they're allowed to be that way by the sports media. The people at ESPN that has the slogan, "Serving sports fans anytime, anywhere." How are you serving sports fans? If you won't hold the people responsible for entertaining us accountable, if you won't hold the players, ownership responsible for entertaining us, how are you serving sports fans? ESPN and the rest of the sports media serves athletes, serves billionaire owners, serves television networks, their TV partners. They don't serve sports fans. ESPN's mission statements and values, this is straight from their own website. Our mission, to serve sports fans anytime, anywhere. Our values, people are our most valuable resource, and care and respect for employees and each other will always be at the heart of our operations. We embrace diversity to serve all sports fans worldwide. We are passionately committed to teamwork, quality, creativity, integrity, the aggressive pursuit of new ideas, audience growth, and building shareholder value. ESPN does not care one iota about sports fans. The athletes don't care one iota about sports fans. And so many of you are like, "Oh, Jason, that's why I quit watching sports." And Jason, you're the idiot. You need to quit watching sports. And I don't believe in surrender. I don't believe in giving up something that we built. We don't have to quit. It's no different. Oh, the sports culture's gone totally woke. Why don't you and Clay Travis and everybody else just quit? Let it go woke. No, you stand your ground and you fight for something that you built. I'm a sports fan first and foremost. Being a sports fan is what's attracted me to get involved in the media. I'm never coming off this square. When I switched my major in 1986 to journalism, it was because I was so frustrated by the Indianapolis Star and the way they covered the Indiana Pacers. Part of the reason, I love sports and love reading the newspaper, but part of it was like, oh, I'm gonna get in the sports media and I'm gonna hold these athletes and I'm gonna hold the Indiana Pacers and I'm gonna hold these players, coaches, executives, and ownership. I'm going to hold them responsible. That's why I got into sports media, to speak for sports fans like me. Many of you just want to surrender. I can't surrender. I will not surrender. As I've told you a million times on this show, Christians organize sports. If you go look at basketball and James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, he did it for explicitly Christian reasons. He invented basketball as a way outreach and guiding and development of young Christian men. Basketball was invented for Christians. And you just, I'm going to give up. I'm not going to watch anymore. I can't tell that lie. Do I watch as much as I used to? No, I don't. Because it's really hard for me to stomach these entitled athletes. The WNBA players represent what we've been getting served from NBA players and professional athletes for years. They think they're better than the fans. They think they don't need fans. They think, hey, look, we got these streaming services and television contracts and all that. Who cares? You can price gouge, you can mistreat sports fans, you can do anything you want to sports fans. Players can jump from team to team. College players can hop in the transfer portal and do whatever they want. We can have games on Thursday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Saturday night. We can do anything we want. Who cares about sports fans? I do, and we should. And so our next battlefield and where we're going and where we've been going, but it really just crystallized me the importance of during this 2-week break and what we've seen, that this surrender of woke sports. What we now must do is fight for some respect as it relates to fans, because the disrespect is out of control. It's not just Russell Westbrook. And I can show you things here from Russell Westbrook, his mistreatment of fans, and the media caping up for Russell Westbrook, mistreating fans, being angry at fans, accusing fans of racist behavior. This is like the favorite thing for all of these guys. What's I think it's Alyssa Thomas, the star of the Phoenix Mercury, calling Indiana Fever fans and Indiana racist. What's Angel Reese? Someone told us after the game that Indiana Fever fans said racist things to us. Then they do an investigation and there's no truth to it. How long are we going to tolerate this? And I'm not calling for you to quit watching sports, because I'm not going to do it. But we're going to figure out what we can do as a group, and my initial thoughts are we have to quit buying their paraphernalia, quit buying their jerseys, quit buying their shoes. This isn't much of a sacrifice. Quit buying their shoes, quit buying their jerseys, quit buying their hats. You can go to the games, you can watch the games, you can talk about the games, you can gamble on the games. But quit buying their jerseys until they put some respect on our name. We have to have a voice in this deal because the media, the mainstream media, has basically abandoned us. But we do have some leverage, and we do have some things that we can do. We can quit walking around as billboards for these athletes that have no respect for us. You don't need to buy their jerseys to be a fan. You don't have to be a simp for people that have no respect for you. So we are starting we are starting, pay fans respect. That's who's owed a debt. These idiots are running around talking about what they are owed. How much more do we have to give them? Look, I know that Caitlin Clark is making $75,000 from the Indiana Fever, but we do know she's making millions from State Farm and all the other endorsements she has. Same thing for Angel Reese. Now, are there a bunch of WNBA players making $75,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year? Yeah, so what? They're flying private to games, and they don't deserve it. They've been subsidized by the NBA for years while losing millions of dollars. Any other business would have gone out of business at this point. They're entitled, all of these athletes, and it's not just them. They're just the biggest glaring example of it. But in college football, we've allowed a system that lets these kids just hop in the transfer portal every other month. Why? How is this fair to fans? And I don't care about, what about the athletes? The athletes are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in college. We don't have to give them the right. I'm at Ball State one month and I'm at UCLA the next. And yes, Carson Steele, the Chiefs running back, leaving my Ball State Cardinals, it hurt me. It wounded me. It's like, holy cow. We got this great running back. We were the only ones that would allow this kid to play running back. Everybody else wanted him to switch to linebacker. We take the chance. No, you want to play running back? Yeah, come play running back. You're Mr. Football in Indiana. We develop him, and then he bolts to UCLA. I don't blame Carson. He got a bunch of money to go to UCLA. Hats off to him. But damn it, this transfer portal stuff has to stop. There has to be some sort of respect for fans and our loyalty and our passion. I think the NFL just came out, or it came out this year. It's like, for those of us that watch the NFL, to watch all these NFL games, it's going to cost us like $1,500 this year. Sunday ticket, you got to have a subscription, YouTube TV, Peacock, Netflix, Amazon Prime, ESPN Plus. Throw it up, $1,500. And, just keeping it real. Yeah, I can afford $1,500 and I'll pay it. I'll watch all the games. But the average sports fan, $1,500 cut it out. Players are getting paid $50, $60 million a year. They don't deserve it. I'm going to let them have it, but they don't deserve it. And some of that money could be spent on fans by making things more affordable for fans. But again, no one speaks for sports fans. No one. Everyone speaks for the athletes, for ownership, for the rest of the media that are now celebrities and multimillionaires just like the athletes. And no one speaks for fans because we don't speak for ourselves. They were WNBA fans. This is just a short clip. The WNBA players come out wearing those T-shirts. I want to play SOT 10. And after the game, the fans, they're chanting, "Pay them." Play the clip. What are we doing? They just served you a 2-hour doo-doo sandwich. And you're saying, pay them, pay them, pay them. They just served you 2 hours of absolute trash. You traveled in from around the country, from around the state of Indiana. Caitlin Clark ain't even playing. They serve you a doo-doo sandwich, and you chant "pay them" afterwards. They play a 44-game schedule. Season lasts about 4 or 5 months. The lower paid players get paid $75,000. The top players get paid $250,000 for a part-time job. Playing basketball. They're not curing cancer. And I'm not saying they're wrong for wanting to negotiate a better CBA. Every worker does that. But this bold and delusional way that they do it, pretending as if they should be treated like NBA players, they've already pulled it off by these private jets, these private flights. They don't deserve it. But the whole WNBA is a political movement. It's not about making money. And you have people like, and I've already praised Portnoy, but I want to play you this clip of Portnoy defending WNBA players and their contract demands. And this again where I just go like, no one speaks for fans. Because even Dave Portnoy is out here caping up for elite, pampered, entitled, no gratitude having WNBA players. Here's Portnoy.
Anyways, the players before warm-ups to the All-Star Game wore "Pay us what we deserve" T-shirts. World War III has broken out. People taking sides, saying they deserve money, they don't deserve more money. I don't know how anybody in the world with a brain, and maybe my brain is just bigger than most, can rationally say the women don't deserve more money at this point. But if you told me I could pay $250 million and bring a team to Boston, I would sign that check in a heartbeat. This team is, this league is so white hot right now, and I know everyone's gonna say, well, it's only Caitlin Clark. It's a one-person league. Caitlin Clark was 100% the match that lit the fuse, or the fire that lit the flame, or whatever. You know, the straw that stirs the drink. That's Caitlin, no doubt about it. But Caitlin's not going anywhere. She's year 2 of a 15-year career. She loves the WNBA. She's on the collective board, the bargaining table. So she's not going anywhere. Plus, Angel Reese, love her or hate her, huge star. It's almost turned like a bird magic when they came into the NBA. Paige Buecher's huge star. Juju gonna be a huge star. The more these stars play, more up-and-coming stars you're gonna have. I don't care about the old heads who talk and just want to get paid for tenure, basically, I don't give a shit about that. I'm talking about if you can sell out the Boston Garden, you can sell out these big venues, you have ratings going through the roof, you're the women's Final Four beating the men's Final Four in rankings. There is a ton of money to be made. They have some of the most marketable athletes right now in all sports, in their sport, and they're young. This league, that $250 million for a franchise, that's going to be $1 billion in 10 years. The franchise fee will be $1 billion. So yes, I would do it in a second. I don't care about the past. I don't care what they've done for the past 10 years. I'm talking about right now.
I want to translate what Portnoy is saying and what he knows. And because to some degree, he's not arguing known facts. He's arguing about, hey, this is the direction the wind is blowing. And I want to tell you what wind is blowing. And it's obvious. But based on TV ratings, based on arena attendance, based on ticket price, based on merchandise sold, and then when you add it, flying private and all the other expenses that go along with the WNBA, you can't make the argument he's making. It's not justified. Their TV rate, yes, they've gone up. It's all dependent on one person. And you don't make bets, the astronomical bets, based on one person, particularly one person, Caitlin Clark, who's getting brutalized on the court and this year looks a tiny bit injury prone, and this year is actually involved in a prolonged slump, that mentally getting beat up and physically getting beat up. Caitlin Clark may not survive. You don't make the kind of bet that David, pay him more money because the WNBA, it's a great investment. It's going to be worth $1 billion. Here's what he's not saying, is that all of these major corporations are so invested in the political message that the WNBA represents, the woman kings, the feminist movement, that all of these major corporations are throwing dollars at the WNBA, marketing dollars, promotional dollars, advertising dollars at the WNBA, not based on ratings, not based on relevance, not based on the ability to move product, based on political messaging. This is a political movement. This is a destruction of the patriarchy movement. That's what the WNBA is all about. That's why it's been allowed to exist for the last 30 years. You're not going to like it, but I'm going to keep it real and tell you the truth. The WNBA, when I say it's about the destruction of the patriarchy, coupled with that, and just as important, it's about the destruction of the white man in America. Sorry for going there. I hope you can handle the truth. I hope you can understand. But that's what the WNBA is about. And he knows that people, the puppet masters, the people with billions of dollars that invest in these sort of things, are directing everything towards the WNBA. We don't care if there's a return on this investment, because financial return, because the real return we want is the promotion of feminist women, preferably lesbian, and maybe even more preferentially black. We want those people elevated into idols. We want those people elevated into role models for your kids. The WNBA, and I know so, Jason, why do you talk about it? Why do you watch it? I talk about it and I watch it so I can explain it to you, so I can tell you what's going on in the culture. Caitlin Clark is a little carrot they're setting out there to capture the attention and the imagination of your daughters. And once they put Caitlin Clark, and that's what they're doing. They're putting Caitlin Clark through the grooming process. They're going to get Caitlin Clark on message, or they're going to run Caitlin Clark out of the league and make her retire or go over to Europe or somewhere. But in that process, they want Angel Reese, who, and I wish I didn't, there's a video of Angel Reese at somebody's party, All-Star Weekend, where she's dry humping another WNBA player from behind. And it's everything, it's the debauchery and the insanity that we object to. And this is why I'm angry as a sports fan and I'm angry as a Christian. Because I know who invented organized sports, and I know for what purpose. And I'm looking at them use sports, use the WNBA, use the NFL, use all of the Major League Baseball, all the Pride Month events. They're using sports to take your kids in a bisexual, and for people like me, I don't believe in bisexuals, you're just gay. They're using everybody to force them into the alphabet mafia agenda and the feminist agenda. And so, hey, let's just walk away from, try it. Those of you that have kids, try just to walk away from sports. Your young sons and many of your young daughters, they're going to have an interest in sports. You're not going to just, no, we're not doing that. You're not playing sports. You're not just going to be able to, one, it would be unhealthy to tell your kids that. And so you need to enter this fight. You don't give up. You don't surrender. You don't raise the white flag. You fight for what you built and you return it to your control. And so these people, WNBA, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, they need to answer to fans. They need to put some respect on our names. And the only way that's going to happen is if we organize and rally as a group. Same way, to some degree, although it was more organic. It's just like people like myself, people like Clay Travis, we planted a flag and said, damn it, we're not cooperating as it relates to the woke sports media. And eventually other people followed along and they figured it out and they're like, man, I ain't cooperating either. And that's how you get the Riley Gaineses. That's how you get the Sage Steeles. When women see men stand up, they will support us and come out there and stand with us. And particularly if you have kids. And so I haven't thought this all the way through. The WNBA thing on Saturday is like, it was kind of the final straw when I saw that. And so, but I know we're going to stand our ground and we're going to build something here and invite other fans to join us, to rally. Quit buying their garbage, man. Quit buying their jerseys, their shoes, their hats. Enjoy the games. But there is a way for us to financially push back. There is a way for us to, no different than WNBA players. They're wearing T-shirts to pay us what they owe us. Well, this week I'm having my T-shirt made. Pay fans respect. I'm going to start wearing them here on this show. I'm going to offer you guys, and this isn't just some, T-shirt selling venture that, I'm dead serious about this. Anybody that's listened to this show, watched this show for any length of time, it's always been my mission to be a voice for sports fans. And so I want your suggestions. I've come up with an initial list of demands that we're going to narrow in on, massage, focus in on. And eventually there's going to be enough of us gathered up, signed up, whatever, and we'll start putting out our demands and building our group and trying to convince other people. Demand some respect as a fan. Don't just put up with any and everything. Don't just allow. Did you see, what's the girl's name? Sayonara Rivers. She plays for the Connecticut Sun. The last regular season game before the All-Star break, the Indiana Fever were playing the Connecticut Sun in Connecticut. The Liberty were the last game, so this would have been the second to last game. And this girl got an Indiana Fever fan kicked out of a courtside seat for no reason. She didn't like something this fan allegedly said. And she pointed him out to the refs and then waved goodbye. This guy's sitting courtside right next. Who cares what the fan yelled? He paid the money to see Caitlin Clark. Ain't no telling what those seats cost. And he got kicked out and I don't care what he said. Because he damn sure didn't shout the N-word. We know that. But I don't really care what he shouted. He's at a WNBA game. He ain't there. Anyway. But we got to draw a line in the sand and demand some respect, or we're going to continue to get SHIT on. I lived at a time, I'm still a passionate fan, but I lived at a time when I was a kid and a very passionate fan. And I loved to taunt the opposing team, the opposing players. I loved to taunt the general manager of the Pacers, my favorite team, because they were so poorly run. And now they put up this deal where you can't even say anything to them, or they get to beat you up, or they get to call you racist, or they get to get you tossed out of the game. This is crazy. So I want you all to help me. I've come up with an initial list of demands, but I want to hear from you all, how we can organize this, what kind of demands we should make, what kind of things should we do to show our dissatisfaction. But here's my initial list of demands. And a couple of these I may spend a little bit more time on. Could we put up my initial list of demands? Thank you. We don't have it. Yeah. Remove woke messaging from NFL stadiums. Want the end racism and all that garbage removed. It's not because I'm pro-racism. Obviously, I'm not. But you don't fight racism with slogans. You just don't. And those slogans are meaningless and purposeless. No one's, there's that end racism in the end zone. Guess I won't be prejudiced anymore. End all Pride Month celebrations. Over. Done. No more. This is a big one for me. And I'm going to take a little time to explain this one. But we got to ban commercial rap music from all arenas and stadiums. They're poisoning young people with rap music. Those of you with kids, this is part of the indoctrination to the degeneracy. It's the music that they pump into these stadiums. I watched an Indiana Fever game over the break, and during one of the commercial breaks, I hear this Little John song and the whole arena, Gamebridge. This is my Indianapolis, my hometown, my home arena. And they're playing this Little John rap song called Shots. And part of the lyrics are, if you ain't getting drunk, you need to get the F out. If you're not here to party, you need to get the F out. And they've, I'm sure, covered up the F, but everybody knows what would be said there. You could basically hear it even though they don't say it. And if you know the song, you definitely know. And I'm looking at little kids shout this chorus. And I'm like, what are we doing? The WNBA, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, and they got little kids shouting, "Get the F out"? Are you kidding me? I'm taking a step further in terms of what they're doing to our kids with this demonic music that they pumped into every arena and stadium. Just think about arenas and stadiums. This is where everybody goes. This is the gathering spot. You fill up more arenas and stadiums and you attract more people there than you do at church. And they got everybody chanting, bobbing their heads, singing along to this degenerate rap music. And I want to show you. And the athletes act in such a degenerate and buffoonish way, the professional ones, that it leaks all the way down to the kids. I want to play you this video. This is an IG story, I think, from Jamison Williams. It's a Little League football game. I want you to watch this touchdown celebration. Play the clip. For those of you only listening, and you couldn't see the video, that looks like an 8 to 10-year-old boy, 30, 40-yard touchdown run. He gets in the end zone and gets in push-up position and starts pumping the ground like he's having sex. And a couple of his coaches are down there celebrating him as he's pumping the ground as if he's having sex. This hip-hop degeneracy. And you're like, how can you connect that to the music? Why not just blame the coaches? Who allowed that? And the coaches are down there celebrating him as he's doing this. But there's been a poison let loose in American culture, and it's most let loose and most cancerous in Black American culture, because we see this degeneracy and this music as Black culture. But we're poisoning little babies with a mindset of degeneracy and sex, and thinking that this kind of behavior is appropriate for little kids or even adults. And I saw a video of a Detroit Lions player last season, I think, doing the exact same celebration. What are we doing? What are we doing? We have to get hip-hop out of sports. I told you who organized sports. They didn't organize it so that a demonic brand of music could take it over and that it would be pumped in to every arena, every football stadium, every sport, every team practice. Teams are practicing. You go to any of these summer AAU 7-on-7 and you hear the music blaring everywhere. You go to any of these AAU basketball tournaments, the music is blaring everywhere. They're poisoning our kids. Black, white, whatever. We got to put a stop to it. Back to my demands. We got to quit policing fan taunting. This goes back to kicking people out of the arenas. This goes back. I grew up at a time, I was a sports writer at a time. The antlers at Mizzou were very popular. We need to bring that back. Let fans taunt. Let them do whatever they want. They pay the tickets. Let them have some fun. Toughen up if you don't like it. We need to call for the end of NBA load management. You pay all this money to go to the arena, pay for that parking, pay the concession cost, show up at the game. Steph Curry's tired tonight. He's taking tonight off. And Steph's a bad example. Probably Kawhi Leonard, all these other. End it. I don't have the solution, but in some way we have to limit the transfer portal. Can't just let college kids jump from team to team. It's ruined my fandom and love of college football and Ball State. I love kids there for 3 or 4 or 5 years. You get to watch them develop. Somehow we got to limit. I'm not saying in the transfer portal, but we got to limit it in some kind of way. So there's some sort of continuity, and I can be a passionate Ball State fan rather than a AA team for UCLA and Purdue and whoever else wants to steal our best players. The last one's kind of funny, but it's not. One of our demands I'm calling for, unless you guys talk me out of it, is fire Ryan Clark. Just fire him for race baiting. Let that send out a message to any and everybody else that wants to come on air and just race bait rather than actually say something informative and substantive. You got to take a scalp. Fire Ryan Clark. That'll send a chilling effect throughout the rest of the sports media. Cut it out. Say something better than Lamar's the first authentically black quarterback ever. All the rest of the black quarterbacks weren't really authentic. They didn't have braids. Anyway, I want your suggestions. And so we got an email address, payfansrespect, very easy, @gmail.com. I want your thoughts. Those of you that send me an email early with a suggestion, when I have my T-shirt made, send me your address and I'll mail you a Pay Fans Respect T-shirt. Send me an email, good suggestion, signing up. I'll probably limit it initially to the first 50 of you all that send me a suggestion with your address. I'll send you the same T-shirt that I'm going to have made. This is a bit of a work in progress. But we got to draw a line in the sand. We're coming off a huge victory that myself, Clay Travis, Bobby Burak, Riley Gaines, Sage Steele, the handful of us that were willing to stand our ground, we won that culture war. Now let's make them put some respect on fans. Let's re-enter fans because no one cares. The customer's not always right anymore. We've changed all that. The billionaires are always right. The millionaire puppets that they employ are always right. And fans always get served a doo-doo sandwich. We got to cut it out. Let me bring my boy Steve Kim into this discussion. Before I do that, I want to tell you about what we got going on at Blaze TV, the July promo. We're living in a time when the truth is treated like hate and lies are paraded as compassion. The media calls it tolerance, but we know better. At Blaze TV, we don't play along. We tell the truth even when it's hard, even when it's unpopular, because truth is too important to stay silent. On my show and across Blaze TV network, we go deeper than the headlines. We don't just react to the news. We explain what's really going on. You won't hear this from the corporate media. They're too busy pushing agendas, but we're here to push back with clarity and conviction. Anyway, I need you all to subscribe to Blaze TV. It's just $6 a month, I believe. It's just $8 a month, I'm sorry, when you use the promo code FEARLESS. It's just $8 a month when you use the promo code Fearless. That's $20 off the annual plan, only 26 cents a day to support the voices that won't back down. Go to fearlessmission.com. Join us today. The truth matters, and they're doing everything they can to silence it. Join us. Fearlessmission.com, $8 a month, 26 cents a day. That's less, that's like a quarter for a newspaper. All right, Steve Kim, next. Why am I on ownership side? And I'm on ownership side because I think guaranteed contracts would damage the NFL product. What's left of the NFL product? I think guaranteed contracts have damaged the NBA. And it's why we have load management and guys that really don't care. And I think some of that is already creeping into the NFL. Instead of, and again, this is why I question myself, is like, I'm on the side of a bunch of elite billionaires and want them to have more power and control over the players. Yes, as a fan, that's where I'm at. It may not be logically consistent or logically moral or morally consistent. I don't know, but that is where I am. I feel like the players have too much leverage and the product is suffering. And as a fan, I don't want the product to suffer anymore. Be sure to visit and subscribe to Jason Whitlock Harmony on YouTube. I'm diving into politics and entertainment with a unique biblical perspective, distinct from Fearless, and hosting interviews with a range of guests. Share the word, and thanks for tuning in.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So fly
All right, welcome back. Steve Kim. Just when we thought all-star games could not get any worse, the WNBA unleashed their all-star game. They want us, or they want to be paid what they're owed. I think they're owed very little. They've been living off of entitlement and charity. Anyway, your thoughts on WNBA All-Star Weekend?
Once again, I'm going to echo something I've said many times. I've never seen a league or a culture that is as unlikable as the WNBA from top to bottom. I'm talking about the players, some of the coaches, the front office, even the commissioner, and those who really advocate for the league. And there's never, the sense of entitlement is astounding to me. Never have people have worked on such a deficit acted as if that they are entitled to all the profits, whatever that may be. But it kind of got me thinking. This kind of reminds me of like the whole debate over illegal immigrants. I mean, all this time they expect certain things. Like I guess we've been paying for their health care. We've been giving them benefits. And guess what? They don't put anything into it. But I will say one thing about a lot of the immigrants, at least some of them, they've actually provided services that we found useful as the American public. I'm not so sure the WNBA can say that consistently.
Steve, what do you think about my argument that the Shane Gillis hosting the ESPYs, Dave Portnoy joining Fox Sports is a significant cultural moment that it's a sign of surrender that the woke sports culture is actually coming to an end?
That remains to be seen. I do think that November 5th, 2024, it signaled that I don't know if they want to call it a shift, but there's at least a green light that those who do not go with this liberal, democratic, socialist dogma are allowed to come out from underneath their bed sheets and actually express their opinion. Now, what changes that actually really causes that are permanent, that, again, that remains to be seen. But let's just put it this way. I don't know if Shane Gillis was quite as cutting as Norm Macdonald at the ESPYs back at the 90s. I still think that's the ultimate standard. But let's put it this way. Number one, I don't believe he would have been invited to the ESPYs even 2-3 years ago. And he certainly would have not had the license to have that particular monologue.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald did his thing when it wasn't nearly as high risk as what, I mean, dude, this guy took on the Yaz Queens in front of an audience filled with Yaz Queens lovers. I don't, and no disrespect to Norm Macdonald, but I thought this took a bigger pair.
Yeah, I mean, look, 3 years ago, look, they would have gotten Bill Burr. And then Bill Burr would have been pandering to the WNBA and his wife, and it would have been terrible. But I do find it interesting, the timing of all this, that the All-Star game, so much of that story was about Caitlin Clark, right? And really, can we be honest about it? I know people aren't going to like this, but I would say about 95% of that league's growth is around one player, her. Okay, so she kind of sits out, so that takes away some of the steam. And you're thinking, okay, the optics are very interesting. When they came out with the shirt, I will give them this. It's the most buzz a WNBA All-Star game has ever gotten. It really is. And pay us what you owe us. You notice how the wording was very interesting? That, again, sense of entitlement. But it's not pay us what we are worth. And this is going to be a great economic debate about what is the true growth of the league. What do you talk about the decades-long deficit they've built up in debt? And the players have said, we will sit out. This is not a bluff. And most of America says, let's hope so. And I think this is going to be a fascinating debate over how willing are these ladies willing to be their version of Curt Flood moving into the future.
Well, if they try to get if they try to go Curt Flood, they may get flooded because, and again, this is why I disagree with Portnoy in terms of this is a one-person army. Everybody's standing behind Caitlin Clark, pretending like they're out front, and they're not. And so I see what the WNBA is doing as some sort of desperation. If they thought they had really fixed this, solved this, thought they had some real momentum beyond Caitlin Clark, I don't think they would be wearing T-shirts. They would be far more confident of their position, and they wouldn't need, well, let me see if I can get the public behind us, because the public is not going to get behind them because I think, and yes, they were chanting, pay them, but that was probably a lot of family and friends and probably a lot of Alphabet Mafia people. Once Caitlin Clark exited that All-Star game, and that was 3 days before, the ticket prices dropped like, what they say, 48, 50%. So I'm not sure if that was the typical audience, but the performance was horrible. Let me ask you one other thing. In terms of credit that I was giving myself and Clay Travis and Sage Steele and others, did I leave anybody off or did I put anybody on that list that maybe didn't deserve to be?
I think you nailed most of them. I would say that the cultural shift also goes beyond sports. And I said this before. I think you have to give a lot of people like Anton Daniels, Angry Man, Chaotic Truth, Ock Nation, the Cartier family. I believe that they are soldiers on the front line every day. And Coach Greg Adams is another guy. Kevin Samuels is the godfather. God rest his soul. Moment of silence. I think they all tie in together. And, you know, look, you have to have the guts to say, if I say this publicly, what they state on a consistent basis, two things. Number one, I may lose my job. Or number two, I will never go back to legacy corporate media. And Jason, once you make that decision, there's no going back. Because everyone can Google what you said, people can screenshot, they can download all our clips. So you almost have to be like a flying Walenda. You know what's the great thing about the Walendas? They had no safety net. They got up on there in that tightrope. Once in a while, they splattered. But overall, they were pretty good. But again, they had no safety net. And one last thing about this WNBA thing, once again, the unlikability. Kelsey Plum, that young lady, she's out there on the podium, and she talks about how we're a united front. Well, except for, Caitlin Clark's team. And right then and there was final confirmation. That's why Darren Waller left her. Darren Waller just said, you know what? I'm done. I can't take. I'm seriously. Could you imagine living with that every day? It's insufferable. Waller, I'm with you. I get it, Darren.
I'm giving Kelsey Plum some grace.
Why?
I think that I think she tried to crack a bad joke. She's not a comedian, tried to be funny. I don't think that was a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Oh, really?
I think she thought she was being, I really don't.
Oh,
No.
If that was Asia Wilson's team, she would have said, well, Asia wasn't there, though. Look, she's got to understand one thing. Women aren't really funny, not even the comedians. So why does she think all of a sudden she's female Richard Pryor? Give me a break. No grace. We're sending that grace there, Whitlock. Good grief. Vacations made you soft.
Delusion. And because listen, this whole thing, the way they're trying to unpack, we just decided in the morning that we were going to wear these T-shirts. And I'm like, okay, you're in a city that isn't your own, and you decided that morning, we're going to have these T-shirts made. And I guess you could send someone to run out to have, 25, 30 T-shirts made, but I don't think it was that kind of organic. I think this decision was made long before. And look, 5 hours, can you have some people make some T-shirts? Yes, I guess. But I tend to think it was a bit more planned out. And I'm going to give Kelsey Plum a tiny bit of grace. Steve, last thing on this, my turncoats, people that in the sports media that sold out, from Levitard to Cowherd, who did I meet? Bill Simmons, Sarah Spain. Anyway, did I leave anyone out there, or did I put someone on the list who didn't deserve?
Well, I have a question. Wasn't Sarah Spain always kind of a raging liberal? I don't know if she turncoat. She just doubled down. Was she ever anything different?
Steve, you don't remember her entrance into the sports media zeitgeist?
All right, so she wet her tatas. I get it, but that doesn't mean her politics were any different. She wanted to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, isn't she a Bears fan? Wasn't that for the Bears? Look, how many times are the Bears making a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman? Come on. That doesn't happen. That happened one time. But again, about Skip Bayless, if you go on Skip Bayless's Twitter and it comes up on my timeline once in a while for whatever reason, he's now doing a 540. He's gone back to the old Skip. I actually think he's reached. Now, again, is that a movement of convenience? I think you can argue that, yes. And I have to, since you know Levitard a lot better than me, so Levitard at one time was not always this guy. That's what you're telling me.
What? No. His parents are both Cuban. They fled Cuba. His parents are as right-wing and as conservative as you could possibly be.
But Jason.
No. Levitard was not politically correct.
But I equate it to that rich white family whose both parents were really well off and they were conservative. They send their son to some liberal arts college or Harvard, and next thing you know, they're socialist. It happens.
Steve.
It happens.
All right, explain this to me then. How are you best friends with Jason Whitlock? If you're, and again, he had other friends, his brother certainly, and he's got some friends he grew up, but your best friend in the sports media is Jason Whitlock?
Here's what I think happened. You were like his cool black friend. Everyone wants one in America. Let's be honest. Everyone wants a cool black friend. It gives you that street cred, which is so important. And he thought in the back of his mind, I can change Jason. All this stuff that he says that I don't like, I could change him. But you, to your credit, being the renegade that you are, you just said, nah, not happening. It didn't happen. You went way off the reservation, didn't say plantation, the reservation, and he just gave up, and he put you on waivers. That's what I think happened.
Nah.
What?
Nah, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
That was my thesis.
Nah, don't buy it. But it's a possibility, but don't buy it. All right, let me move past that and run a couple other things by you. Shannon Sharp has settled his $50 million lawsuit with Gabriella Zuniga, the OnlyFans model. Gabriella has put out a statement after the settlement of this $50 million lawsuit. Today, I have decided to retire from OnlyFans. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me over the past few years. This community has given me a life I could have never imagined. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. I'm truly excited for this next chapter. I love you all forever and ever.
Wow.
Does that mean she got a hell of a settlement? She sued for $50 million. If you had to bet, what's the settlement?
Jason, I think it has to. I would still say it's 8 figures, but I got to give Ms. Zuniga credit, like all the great ones, like Jordan. She left on top. She left on top of her game. She didn't leave when she put on 30 pounds. She left at the top of her game. Now, the question is this Jordan in 93, where it's just a short little hiatus? She plays little minor league baseball, really works on her Twitter following and Instagram and then comes back? Or is it Michael Jordan of 98? That's the question I have at this point.
Do you think she has a career ahead of her? Like she'll be a different version of Hawk Tua girl?
No, Hawk Tua's 15 minutes are up. Okay. I don't think that Ms. Zuniga is going to be hawking a meme coin that's going to rip off thousands of people for their lives. I don't see that in her future. I think she might be more honorable than Hawk Tua, believe it or not. By the way, is it actually true, Jason? Now, we talked about this months ago. Is there a chance now that the settlement has been reached, that's part of the deal where Shannon Sharpe returns to his former place of employment?
Yeah, that's where I was going next, and it's a great question. Yes, I think he returns to ESPN. And I think the reason why she got a settlement worthy of her retirement is because, he gets to return to ESPN, gets his money from there. His sponsors probably get to hop back on Nightcap. They had all evacuated. And so it was worth Shannon to pay her whatever he had to. Maybe he paid her $10 million, maybe he paid her $8 million. I don't know, but he's gonna get the money back through his sponsors with Nightcap and through, I think, a triumphant return to ESPN.
And I'm gonna give Shannon credit. He weathered the storm, and the best thing they did, him and Ocho and everything else he does, he just kept at it, kept working, did not disappear, did not go gently into the night, just kept grinding away. And then he wrote a check. And then you know what? Lesson learned. Lesson learned, and he goes on with this career.
I don't think he wrote a check. I think he wrote checks. I think you got to put an S at the end of that. Because there's what we know, and then there's what because again, generally speaking, when someone like Gabriella comes out, other women come out, and you got to pay them off as well. But yeah, I think Shannon is a valuable tool in the degeneracy movement, and it's worth paying to clean up his mess. Seriously. And I guarantee you, Gabriella Zuniga, I guarantee you her DMs are filling up. She's retiring from OnlyFans, probably because she's a sugar baby for several others.
Yeah, Zuniga's going to live a nice life. We're going to see pictures of her in Dubai. Dubai, I don't know if she's going to be I don't want to go there. But, I mean, she's going to live a good life. Let's put it this way. We're not going to have to start a GoFundMe for her. She's good. She's good.
She's definitely good. Steve, next I want to, this is hardcore sports, less humorous, but still. The Pittsburgh Steelers over the weekend reached an agreement with T.J. Watt. He's the highest paid non-quarterback, I think, in the league. Is that did I not read that correctly? Yeah. Between paying T.J. Watt all this money, signing Aaron Rodgers, getting Jalen Ramsey, getting Jonnu, the tight end, and there's another defensive back that I'm leaving off. But this feels like Super Bowl or bust for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I say they're not going to be satisfied with a 10-7 season and one playoff wild card victory. It feels to me like they got to get to the Super Bowl or this thing has been a failure, and that if 10-7 and 1 playoff victory could get Mike Tomlin fired.
Jason, I want to scale back a little bit. You're saying Super Bowl or bust. I'm saying at least get to the AFC title game and win more than 11 games, because that's a good season. Okay, let's be honest. Tomlin has not had a lot of success in the playoffs for about, 9, 10 years. But, Jason, that's the best case scenario. You know what the worst case scenario is? And I was thinking about this because your good buddy was on that team. Remember the 2000 Redskins? Didn't they bring in the Pro Bowl team? The only problem was it was the Pro Bowl from 1994. They brought in Dion, Bruce Smith. I think Jeff George might have been the quarterback or something like that, and it just didn't work
was on
out.
That team.
Right, and I think Marty Schottenheimer actually kind of righted the ship late or somewhere in that time frame. Maybe it was a year after, then he got fired because he tried to get this actually coach hard, and then Snyder wasn't having it. But I still remember that the Philadelphia Eagles about a dozen years ago, they had that supposed dream team. That thing fell apart. So this thing it's either going to be boom or bust. And me being an Aaron Rodgers fan, I at least want to see him play high-level football before he rides off into the sunset.
Yeah, I'm okay. True or false? 9-8 and
Bust.
1 playoff victory, and Mike Tomlin's job's in jeopardy. Yes or no?
9-8. But you say 2 playoff
1
victory?
playoff victory.
See, now that
1. I said 1. 1 playoff victory.
No,
Yeah.
because now you're in that. Now you're in that. What do you call it? The abyss of mediocrity. Really, at that point, in the immortal words of Brian Billick, it's just time to blow the whole thing up. Honestly, 9-8, I guarantee you one thing: the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they're already. I don't want to see at their boiling point, but on my timeline, anytime we talk about the Steelers, Whitlock, this is what I get. We've had it. We're not getting any better. We're not getting any worse. But the worst thing you can be in the National Football League, in my view, is mediocre to pretty good. Because you know why? Because if you're not elite, you're not close to a Super Bowl. If you're not bad, there's no realization we actually have to rebuild this thing. The worst thing to be is right there, to be a beige spot on a beige wall.
Yeah, and I think if you had to bet, closer to 9 victories or closer to 12 victories. If you 9-10 versus 10 or 11, I might bet 9-10.
That's the chalk. You know what? My theory is that Aaron Rodgers, 2 years removed, and I know he's old, there's got to be a sense of professional pride. That offensive line can't be worse than what he had in New York. You know what? I know I'm going to regret this. This will probably be on freezing cold takes in about 5, 6, 7 months. I'm going to go 11 to 12 wins. There, I said it. I said it.
And again, I'm not sure of the Steelers' schedule, but man, there's just a lot of good quarterbacks in the AFC, and they got the old good quarterback, and you got Lamar, you got Joe Burrow, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Josh
Herbert.
Allen, you got C.J. Stroud, you got Herbert.
I'm already regretting what I just said now that you put it that way. Now I'm already regretting it. What did I do here? What did I do?
I don't know if I should say Tua. He's got to make it through the season healthy. But, Steve, I want to move on to Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler won the British Open yesterday, celebrated his family and his faith and all that. But he's now 29 years old with 4 major championships.
It's pretty good.
And he's won them, from his first major to his 4th, it's the exact number of days as it took Tiger Woods to go from his first major to his 4th. Of course, Tiger finished up with 15. Of course, Tiger was 25 when he won his 4th major. Scotty Scheffler, 29. But it made me think about the all-time greats from Jack Nicklaus to Tiger Woods to I think Walter Hagen but I go all the way down to Tom Watson. I think has got the 6 most major championships at 8. And I think Scottie Scheffler has a chance at winning 8 or 9 major championships in his career. If you had to bet, would Scottie Scheffler make it to 8 or 9 major championships? Is he just halfway there?
I'm not I know I'm Asian. I'm not exactly a golf guy there, but I hope so because he seems to have a good message. And I saw some pictures of his press conference, and when he was saying all this, the best thing about what he did was didn't bring his kid up there. I mean, because they use them as props. I'm so sick of that. And all these journalists who are annoyed by kids being up there, interrupting questions and all. I'd be like, hey, can you get that little out of here, please? I'm trying to do a job.
No. You missed it earlier, though. On the 18th hole, his kid was front and center out on the grass with him.
No. Yeah. I'm talking at the podium, though, at the press conference area. I get that. That's okay by me. When you start bringing up these kids, it's like, oh, God, we got to pretend like we really like this and it's cute. Yeah, I'm heartless. I guess so. I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't partake in the Waffle House culture like Tiger Woods. I'm assuming that he's stable. And then he seems to have good health. But still, I know this about golf. Majors are very difficult to win.
What golf is, and because of Tiger Woods, I've paid a lot of close attention over the last 25 years. What it is, at one point, Jordan Spieth, at one point, Brooks Koepka, at one point, I think it was David Duval, at Rory there's been these guys that we thought were going to be, they're the next Tiger Woods, or they're going to, and then it's like Brooks Koepka. I'm telling you, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was like, this guy's a machine. I've never seen anything like this run. And then you haven't heard Brooks Koepka in the last 2 years. I don't think that's going to happen to Scottie Scheffler. I do think he's so solid in his faith and in his mindset and humility that he's got a chance. And because Tiger Woods obviously had a lot of success early in his career. Phil Mickelson had a lot of success later in his career. Phil ended up winning 6 major championships. And so I don't know. I think Scottie Scheffler could end up with 10 major championships and be regarded as one of the 5 greatest golfers of all time. But that's just me. Finally, Steve, Adam Schefter has tweeted out this about President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump is threatening to hold up a new stadium deal for Washington's NFL team if it does not restore its old name of the Redskins that is considered offensive to Native Americans. Allegedly, Trump is also, this isn't from Adam Schefter, but wants the Cleveland Indians to return, they're the Cleveland Guardians, to return to the Cleveland Indians. Part of me, Steve, feels like this is a smokescreen, that Trump has been catching a lot of heat over the Epstein files. And hey, let me throw my base this bone. I'm going to return nicknames to the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians. I think it's a distraction, and it's a pointless symbol. I would like to see this happen, but I'm not sure if I want to see it being pushed by Donald Trump at this time, because I still want the Epstein files.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back. Several months ago, they had this big dog and pony show where these influencers are waving around these files, and I'm thinking, okay, great, we're going to get some action on it. And in that particular instance, that administration, they overpromised, and they didn't even just underdeliver, they have not delivered. And Pam Bondi, to me, has kind of been a disaster, a little bit of a clown show there. And this is an unserious matter. As much as we take sports seriously, in the big picture, what a team's name is, it really is not that really big of a deal. And it does seem like a smokescreen. And now I'm also hearing reports of there's other political lawfare involving other politicians that may have interfered in his first term. You know what? Work on that. I'd actually like to see a lot more in terms of real legal recourse. Instead of just threatening, actually put out arrest warrants on some of these people that you feel were enemies of the state and anti-American. What the Washington football franchise and the Cleveland Guardians are named, really, in the big picture, it's not that important. In fact, I'd say it's somewhat downright irrelevant.
Steve Kim, great job. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll also see you guys tomorrow on this show, but in 15 minutes at 12 noon, you'll see me on the Harmony channel where we're going to discuss, let me play this clip here before we get out of here, just to whet your appetite. Barack Obama, do we have that? Yeah, we have that clip. Barack Obama wants your sons to have a gay friend, and I'll talk about that with Shamika, Virgil, and Anthony on the Harmony channel in 15 minutes. But let's play Barack Obama and Michelle as Barack explains about his gay professor and how everyone needs a gay friend.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad is.
He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college at a time when openly gay folks still weren't out of line, who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
You want to hear my reaction to that? Meet me over on the Harmony channel at 12 noon. For now, we'll play tomorrow, and on this channel, we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'll break my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, no deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just want.